unable to join us today, as he was last week, because last week at this time, I think, we were doing a meeting with Debbie Beck in Prince Edward Island, in Charlottetown. We had an amazing group there, and I have to give a shout out to the wonderful people at PEI. And Joe is unable to join us on the call today, but I jumped in, inserted myself in.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kelly said yes, so thanks for inviting me.
Well,
in.
Joe, today he is flying to Hawaii to do a meeting with wonderful Gary Goslin, 20K Gary Goslin.
Just
Hawaii is
taking care of
always
business.
a nice place to go when
Wherever
you have
Zango is
good
happening,
distributors there.
wherever Zango is happening, there will be Joe.
There will be Joe. There
And
will
the
be
spirit
Joe.
of Ohana, because he's going to Hawaii.
All right, we are ready to fire right up. We have some great information from a few different people today. We introduced the concept a couple of weeks ago about some business tips, and we'll be hearing from 100K Select Mr. John Zenas coming up in a little bit. But before that, let's jump right over to Mr. Fred Templeman, who sits across the table from me, and he has the air of a wise man. Fred, how are you?
Full of air.
Welcome in. We're glad to have you here. Today we're talking about Zango 365 Kids Vitamins.
Right.
Now, remember, if you're on this call, you don't have to be a kid to appreciate the kid vitamins. You don't even have to have a kid to appreciate the kid vitamins. You can use them. We use them for snacks around the office and around the house. They're better for you than Starburst. They taste better, and the mineral and vitamin content are immeasurably higher than those toxic chews. So Fred, give us just a quick update. Why do kids need vitamin and mineral supplements?
Well, obviously everybody in North America and many other parts of the world don't get everything that they require in terms of nutrients and the essentials from their diet. Here in North America, we're great examples of people who don't get anything that they need, virtually, except calories from their diet. And so children are in that basket. They don't eat any better than their parents. In fact, they eat usually the same things that their parents do. And my office when I was working in Georgia was right next to a Big Mac. And a McDonald's. And I used to see the kids heading in there at lunchtime for their Big Mac. So our kids suffer from the same kind of nutritional deficiencies that their parents do. But there's an important difference. We forget sometimes that they're growing up for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting their teeth and everything that their teeth is really going to be able to have for the rest of their life. They're forming that in their childhood. They're building brains. They're building bone mass. And when you build on a bad foundation or when you build with inadequate materials, you end up with a structure that won't stand up for life. Now, I think it's sometimes a little bit easier to remember that we talk about how children can be predisposed even when they're still in utero, when they're being incubated. If their mothers take in certain toxins, that can predispose the child to heart disease, to diabetes, etc. Well, turn that on its head and understand that early dosing with the essentials that the body requires to have as a foundation for solid health, when those things are there early on from the very beginning, perhaps even in utero because mom's taking the right things, the kids are going to benefit. And so therefore childhood health is the foundation of adult health. Neglect the foundation and the structure won't stand when the winds come and the rains fall. So we have to build solidly on a good base, and that's why kids need vitamins and minerals in adequate variety, in proper quality, and regularly.
Now, as strong as our commitment has been to product and to development and to ingredients and to being on the cutting edge of the research that's going on, we put a lot into the Zango 365 for kids. How do you think we did?
Well, we did it because it remains unique in the marketplace. It's been out for a few years. Usually you would see some other products coming out with the same kind of elements in it, but it hasn't happened yet. Most vitamins that you can buy, vitamin mineral complexes that you can buy for children across the counter, are going to have very few minerals in them because, quite frankly, minerals taste like crap. And so it's really tough to disguise the taste. But Zango's been able to do that. And they've also been able to do that for things that are like the essential omega-3 fatty acids, the kinds of things that come from fish. And you can imagine how hard it would be to disguise this marine taste, but it's been done successfully, not inside a little capsule that you have to fight with your kids to get, but inside a tasty chew. And so the product is unique in that, one, it has not only 21 of the essential vitamins that we require and a good complex of minerals that you won't find in other products, but it also has the DHEA, it has the EPA, and it has the another element that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, which is the ability to give your child something that will protect them against infections on a daily basis.
Let's talk about the importance of the EPAs and DHAs you mentioned.
Okay.
Obviously, kids are not going to get it from their diet, and you're saying that a lot of the other supplements that are available over the counter, we know them with cartoon names, or they got a lot of national and international marketing power behind them. They aren't providing what Zengo's 365 Kids does provide.
No, they haven't been able to first of all, disguise the taste of the minerals. Secondly, disguise the taste of the marine oils that are required to get the EPA, to get the omega-3s. And they have never been successful at putting that all together. Zengo has two varieties of the Child 365. One of them is called the Cherry Builder, and that's the one that has mangosteen in it, and it has a mangosteen cherry taste. That one is where you will find all of the vitamins and the minerals. But then it also has a pineapple durian kind of taste in what are called the Guardians. And the proper dosage is 3 to 6 builders and 1 to 3 Guardians daily for your kids. Now, the Guardians have this extra stuff in it. That's where the omega-3s are found, the DHA and the EPA. And by the way, when a child is forming and growing brain material, if you have inadequate amounts of DHA, there are measurable deficits. And that's what we see when there is very severe mental lack of development in children who are in areas of great deprivation. So the more DHA, the better. It's also essential for the development of the retina in its first and prime form. You got to have it. And if you don't have enough of it, you're going to have problems.
Well, we've got 2 teenage boys, and I can tell you the DHA was lacking in their brain development.
Well, it certainly feels like that around the teenage years. Usually they get better later on. So brain development, retinal development, all of the vitamins that are required as cofactors for the whole of the metabolic process of growth, which is more dynamic than what goes on in adults. We're in the replacement phase, really, truly, most adults. Kids are building from the bottom up. It just is a little bit more important. Now, kids would not eat the foods, like you said. And there are a couple of studies, excellent studies out there, that show that children are missing certain of the vitamins that they require, and they certainly don't eat organ meats, and they don't eat, I don't eat organ meats and fish either. I get my omega-3s through supplements. But there's a difference between omega-3 supplements. The Zengo supplements come from small fish. These are fish that haven't been around long enough to absorb all of the heavy metals that unfortunately are pollutants omnipresent in our ocean. So getting the oils from the small fish avoids some of those contaminants, and all of the Zengo ingredients, the raws, are tested for heavy metals and tested for biological contaminants before they're ever accepted for inclusion in the product. And I think that kind of quality control you just don't see everywhere.
Yeah, there's a high commitment to the quality standard there.
Right, right.
Talk again really quickly. We talked about, you said 3 to 6 builders, that's the red, and 1 to 3 guardians, and that's the yellow, per day. It's kind of built that way in the pack. When you get the 365 Kids pack, you'll notice you have about 1/3 of the pack is in the yellow chews and about 2/3 is in the red chews. How do they, what's the best way to take those during a day?
Well, you don't need to have them with meals. So you can put them in as a snack. Kids can chew on them at school, just as long as they don't give them all away, because they do cost money. And you can put them into a child's lunch. Now, let me just say one thing about the yellow ones, the Guardians. There is something in there that's not in anything else out there. It's called Prime Active. This is the element that primes the immune system, and that's so important for children. When you think of the number of infections that a child from 2 to about age 6 gets, it's because they have to catch everything in order for their immune system to be exposed. But let me tell you that you can get a small inoculum of the infection and have a subclinical whiny kid for a day rather than somebody who's got 102 fever, laying in bed, vomiting with diarrhea. You don't have to have a full-blown exposure in order to be able to develop the immune resistance that your children must see. And so when you have something like Prime Active on board, which is like, I guess if you were to compare it to a defense system, it's like having a garrison of soldiers near the border. As long as you don't need them, they just sit in the barracks. But if somebody tries a border incursion, you got them right there on the site. You don't need to airlift them in. You don't have to wait for the 2 days for the immune system sort of crank up so they can opsonize these bacteria. They're right there all day, every day, because you're taking them in ready-made. And it just makes it so easier for the child to stave off a real bad infection and simply stay with a subclinical.
Love it. I love the concept of calling it guardians. And you're talking about a garrison of forces waiting at the border. And Gordon, you've got little Joshy. He's going to love the concept of guardian forces within his system taking care of business.
Anything like that, anything that animated. Yeah, Fred has been very descriptive today.
Yes, he's right smack on.
Some great imagery.
Like always.
Yeah. If you could see this, I think they're filming this. You may see it in the recorded version, but you can see Fred animated with his hands.
Oh,
part
I
Italian.
didn't realize I'm sitting here in my undershirt virtually. We were being filmed.
Well, I think
I'll put my jacket on.
One of the things I think is appealing, just to play off what Fred was saying, is I think there's this misnomer out there. You read in, I was reading, and somebody was saying, given, providing the right food choices is important because given a choice of healthy foods, kids will take healthy foods. And I thought, well, what planet are you living in?
Yeah.
Kids will. My kid, you bring up Joshua, if he given the choice, he'd eat Pepperidge Farm cookies and Milk Duds every meal. If he didn't, if you weren't on top of it. And I sometimes you read. There's a million things that can be written about child raising, and I read some of them and I laugh. Having a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old right now. And you read these things, kids are born innocent, they learn to lie as they get older, and no way. I'll catch my 5-year-old with pulling the hair of his 7-year-old sister, and I'll say, stop pulling your sister's hair. I'm not. You're holding her hair in your hand.
Yeah,
no, I'm not. I go, nobody who taught you to lie.
There are reasons.
They were born learning that. They were born knowing how to lie.
There are reasons that we have older people in charge.
Yes,
of homes.
exactly.
And one of the things that we need to do is to look out for them when their natural instincts wouldn't carry them towards the right choices.
Exactly true. Amen, Fred. And this is the beautiful thing about this product. Left to their own devices, kids were not going to eat the perfect amount of proteins and green leafy vegetables, and we have to be on top of that. And a supplement, like Fred is talking about, is exactly that. It's a dietary supplement. It supplements the fact that there are some very massive deficiencies in an average kid's weekly routine, food-wise.
Yep.
So,
all right, Fred, we're going to give you a little break. Have a drink of water.
Yep.
We're going to bring onto the line 200K Select Mr. Eric Welch, father of many nations. Eventually, that's said with all love and kindness. Eric, how are you? You there?
I am here. Hey, thanks, Dave. How you doing?
I'm great. How many little Welches are there at your cabin these days?
Let me think. 7 plus 4 plus 6. Yeah.
Heidi might have something to say about
count, so hopefully by tomorrow we'll still have 7.
All right, good for you. Congratulations to you, and condolences to Heidi and everything that goes along with it. But Eric, you have some good experience with all those, that test market living within your household. Tell us about your family's experience with Zengo 365 Kids.
Yeah, I have to swallow for a minute because I was just chewing a few of them quick because listening to Dr. T reminds me that I'm missing some brain development myself, so I got catch up to do. But yeah, no, I like what you're just saying, and I've said this for a long time as part of my Zengo testimonial in regards to kids. I figured out real quick as a parent I was only going to get so much broccoli down the throat, but there's 2 things that I can feel good about. They don't fight ever. Is Zengo juice and the vitamins, because in fact we have to hide them. I mean, like we have to ration them in our house, like, or they're just gone like candy, and I find wrappers under the pillows and stuff.
yeah,
and,
amen.
And as much as it upsets me, it really doesn't, because I'm like, well, if you're gonna sneak something, I guess. And the other thing is I've found out our kids, because of the ages they're at, they have a lot of problems with pills or capsules, So I've tried other things before, and they'll spit them out, or they'll gag, or they'll hide them under the table because they don't like the taste, or and I just thought that it's just how it goes, and and I buy the cheap generic things because I knew they were worthless, but I couldn't find anything that was worthwhile that they could take, so it was kind of pointless anyway. And so there's no resistance to taking them, and so I guess when you have to hide them, I guess that's pretty good proof that there's not a lot of resistance to taking them. And I feel good investing in the health of my children. We can't avoid the sugar or processed foods, so we just try to add some nutritional intervention into the equation and just deal with the reality of growing up, in life in America in 2013 as a kid and what we eat and all our food industry and things. So, and what it's interesting too is with us, there's a strange coincidence that in the last few years, here we are with 7 young children, we haven't had to take any trips to the doctor, and maybe that's just coincidental, and we have incredibly healthy kids that just on their own. But I feel pretty good the fact that I'm not spending money on doctors, I'm spending money on nutrition, and so it's been great for us. We really appreciated it.
Well, if you have 1 or 2 kids, that might be coincidental. With 7, you are a full-blown, double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed study. Congratulations to the Welches for that. Eric, thank you very much. We appreciate that contribution, and we'll let you get back to helping change a couple of diapers if you can. Fred,
appreciate your support.
Thanks, Eric. We appreciate it. Fred, let's do a couple of questions that have come in from the listening and viewing audience. I'll rattle the questions off, and you fire back your best Fred Templeman answer.
Okay.
Okay, one woman writes in, my child has allergies. What do I need to know about Zengo 365 Kids?
Well, the preparation has been made as hypoallergenic as possible. And so therefore, it's free of allergens like gluten, dairy, gelatin. It's not GMO derived. There's nothing like that in it. There's no artificial flavors, and there's no artificial sweeteners or preservatives. So when you look at the facts, there really isn't a lot in there to cause an allergic reaction. And I must tell you that in the time that it's been out in the field, I haven't had a single report.
Now, I appreciate that. Thank you, Fred. Now, this next question that has come in reminds me, if it tastes that good, if kids like it, there have got to be some sugars. Tell us about the sugars. What is the source of the great flavor in this incredible supplement?
Well, there is a little bit of sugar. There's 12 calories worth of sugar. That's not a whole lot, 3 grams.
Is that in a day's serving?
That's in a day's serving. Right.
So in all the 6 to 9?
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So it's not a lot of sugar. And it comes from essential sugar, that brown rice syrup and dried cane sugar. So what we're looking at is the most elemental stuff before you start refining all the nutrition out of it.
Now, are there any age limitations with kids taking Zengo 365?
Well, it's been formulated for children 4 years of age and over. And when you think about it, this is something that a child has to chew. And we keep our kids largely away from peanuts and other things which would cause problems with particulate aspiration, getting down into the lungs, causing difficulties. And so it hasn't been tested in children under 4. You could, with your doctor's permission, use this in certain kids, but it's an individual decision. It's made for children 4 and older.
And that's where we base our studies and our research and our recommendations. Gord, how old was Joshy when you first gave him his 365 Kids?
Oh, he was the first test subject. He was the guinea pig. I brought those, well, we launched the product 2 years ago, right, at convention. And so it would have been about 2.5 years ago, maybe a little more than that. Yeah, and he loved them. He's 5 now, so that would have made him 3 at the 2.5, 3 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, he wasn't speaking. I think his first word was no. His second word was mom. And then he could say yum by the time he was part of the test group, and that was his first comment. I think I joked about that from stage. And he'll, to this day, my kids, just like Eric was saying, it's we actually have to make sure that they don't get into the 365 chewables because they will eat more than they should.
Yeah, we had my grandkids at home, and I had a package that I was going to send home with one of the parents of the 365s. Never made it home. It was left on the counter before the afternoon was over. They were all gone.
Yeah.
All.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But for the age of kids, it is an individual family. You'll just need to, if you need to consult with your physician, if you're looking for allergens and things like that, you just want to be aware.
Yeah, there are some kids under 4 that you could give it to, but there are some you couldn't.
Okay.
And parents are usually able to make that. If they can't make that decision on their own, ask their doc.
Perfect. So on the other end of that spectrum, can adults take the 365 Kids chewables?
Well, interestingly, there are some adults who don't do well with pills and capsules. And as a result, there are people who use the 365 as their adult source of vitamins, but they have to take 2 to 3 times the amount that the kids would take in order to be able to get an adult dose. But surely,
So it's
just
like
as
a,
easy.
it's like a Dave Webb movie snack dosage size is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what.
Well, the irony is out right in front of this room that we're in is there's a little reception desk, and James sits up there, and instead of having candy in the bowl there, he actually has 365 chewables. And most times, there's not a whole lot of children running around here, I mean, on this floor, but adults are grabbing them as we go by and throughout the day. So they're very appealing to adults. You'll notice there's a lot of people that take them. Dave's got an empty wrapper right in front of him.
I got 4 of them.
Yeah.
Because Kelly threw it at me. Yeah. To be clear, I was a victim of an attack earlier in the call. Fred, thank you for that. I think we're covered on the 365 Kids. A big hand and appreciation for Fred Templeman. Thanks, Fred.
Yeah. Thanks again, Fred, and I get to introduce the next caller here. And just to reiterate what Fred said here, you know, I've got a copy of an article from Science Daily, and it talks about children who have increased amounts of omega-3 fatty acids perform better in school in reading and in spelling and have fewer behavioral problems. This is from an article in July 11th, 2008. And I think it's essential as adults to realize that you can actually affect the learning behavior of your children just by making sure they're getting the proper amounts of nutrients, in this case, omega-3 fatty acids. And I always come back to this amazing quote I once heard that said, at the end of my life, it won't matter what kind of car I drove or what kind of house I lived in. The real difference will be the change I made in the life of just one child. And you think about that with your own children or children that are of families in your downline or organization. And so you're providing a good quality nutritional supplement. I get the pleasure of introducing our business speaker today, and he is locally here, originally from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I think it was the first time I met him, and John Zenas lives here locally in the Beehive State now, and he has many accolades that we could say is, you know, between pin level and public speaking and all this prowess, but he's also a really pretty great dad. I was joking just before the call about the fact that he had taken his daughter to the Taylor Swift concert, and he's really just a super dad and a great public speaker. I think the average person speaks between 100 and 150 words per minute, and I think John could probably have gusts up to 300 to 400 on a good day, and we're privileged to have him on the line today. So, John, if you're out there, could you share a few words with us today?
And like that 300 words per minute is like before Limitless, so just think what this call is going to be like, guys. So thanks for having me, man.
Yes, welcome, John. Thanks.
Absolute pleasure. And, you know, things always run through my brain all the time about what can I talk about? What can I do to inspire other people? How can I help them move forward faster? And, you know, I kind of came up with the subject of preparedness, you know, and hope it's okay to talk about that, Gordon. And, you know, folks that are on here with us today. And, you know, preparedness kind of sounds like the old Boy Scout motto, right? Well, guess what? It's really true. They really are prepared. And the question, I guess, for people is, are you? You know, and I'm not sure if the Girl Scouts have a motto or not. I do love their cookies. At least I did prior to Fabeo, by the way.
Amen.
I like them just a little bit, by the way. But whether you're male, female, scout, not a scout, you know, what I'm going to share right now is for everybody. So I hope you've got a pen out, paper, you know, and hopefully you can listen as fast as I'm going to talk because I'm pretty excited about this, all right? But I don't think anyone would argue, you know, if you're not prepared in business, you know, you might just miss, you know, that next big person, you know, that could join your business. You know, maybe just be a customer, or maybe that next person whose life you may change forever, you know, because of our products, even this wonderful children's vitamin. You know, don't miss, don't miss, don't miss. You know, so when you're in business, you need to be in business. Okay, oxymoron, right? Well, not really. You know, ask yourself, when the last time, you know, you had a conversation with somebody about your business, about your products, were you able to get them a sample on the spot? You know, did you have brochures, some kind of literature to hand out? Did you at least have a business card that pointed them to your website? I'm telling you what, guys, I can't answer that for you, but I think you already know the answer, all right? What I love is that this Limitless product, this Ignite product, this Reload product, you know, that we have out there right now, so easy to talk to someone about, okay? But you have a sample on hand, right on the spot, okay? Do you have something to hand to them? You know, with Limitless, of course, you know, if you hang out with them long enough, like 10 to 15 minutes, you can actually sample them and you'll know the product works, you know? They might even say, how can I get more of that? You know, Do you have a box on hand? Can you actually sell them a box out of your stock? You know, or just have like one single sample in your hands. Okay? Are they gonna have to wait? You know, like the motto goes, always be prepared. People are sometimes impulse buyers, believe it or not, guys and gals. You know, and with such a low buy-in for those 3 products, by the way, guys, you know, you need to have some on hand. Okay, I can't tell you how many times throughout the years I wasn't prepared, and it probably cost me greatly because I wasn't prepared. Today I'm fully 100% prepared all the time. Zango singles, another great on-the-spot hand up to somebody. You know, nobody wants to carry around a bottle of Dixie cups, by the way. No offense, guys, but it's like so 2002. You know, we get these wonderful little samples of our Zango juice products, so easy to be able to hand to somebody. All right. You know, do you have order forms? You know, if you're in business, you better have order forms, applications nearby you. You know, or at least in your car. You know, like I said, I can't tell you how many times throughout the years, you know, they had to go home and call somebody back, and sometimes people cool off. Believe it or not, somebody who's real hot at the moment can cool off. Have applications on hand, have forms on hand, have samples on hand, have some of this, you know, this wonderful, you know, this ProLine price, have some extra on hand because people will buy on the spot. But if you ain't got it, you can't sell it to them, and they might cool off, okay? I will never get caught in that position again, guys. It's probably cost me greatly, whether it be customers, business builders, whatever, throughout the years. It's probably cost me greatly because I made that mistake, and I'm here today to tell you guys, don't make the mistakes that cost me, okay? I want you guys to be prepared, like I said, all right? But, you know, keep a few things in mind, okay, as I'm kind of just sharing quickly with you guys here today, all right? Keep a few things in mind. Always make sure you're getting information from a person you're sharing information with, okay? If you're handing somebody a sample of something, okay, if you're giving somebody some business contact information, make sure you're getting their information back, okay? Here's my motto, you know, my personal motto. No samples, okay, no literature if I don't get their contact information, okay? Otherwise, you're just throwing it away, okay, if you can't get back to them. And it's kind of weird, but the way this thing works in this industry of networking, I haven't quite figured out yet after like 14 years in the industry, and I'm just celebrating my 10th year anniversary at Zango just the other day, by the way, okay, full-time for like 8.5, 9 years, okay? My top personal recruits that I brought into the business throughout the years, okay, none of them have ever called me back, okay? I called them. Bottom line, always get information. Always set a follow-up, okay, after that first contact, all right? You know, and here's the other part. Don't talk people in and out in the same conversation, okay? You want to take time in a conversation to plant a seed, invite someone, not talk them to death. Keep in mind, whatever you say or do is what someone thinks that you do or what your business is. Be careful. You know, become a professional inviter, you know, to events is more important, all right? But always be prepared. Have products on hand, have samples on hand, have information on hand, have your website on hand, have business cards on hand. But in return, make sure they're handing you something back so you can recontact them and get back in touch with them, all right? Just don't throw stuff to the wind and expect something to come back to you, all right? But keep in mind, it's not important to know everything, okay, about the industry of MLM, Zango, the juice, you know, Gordon, his family, you know. It's more important just to know where to send someone to find that information. You don't need to retain it all, but at least know where to get some of the information, okay? Again, systems, tools, websites, etc., they're all duplicative. People are not, okay? So don't try to be super smart. Just be smart enough to know where to find some information to give to people, all right? Just want to kind of close out with a couple thoughts here. You know, I kind of want to throw a challenge out to people, actually. I'm all about challenges, you know, 90-day challenges. You know, right now I'd kind of go with a 60-day challenge because we're just about 6 days out from Bold. And by the way, if you have not committed to Bold yet, oh my gosh, do not miss it. I just feel there's something brewing at Zango Corporate. You know, I have the luxury of living here close to the home office. I get to kind of walk through the halls and hear the chatter, and you know, there's something going on there. I'm not quite sure what it is. I can't put my finger on it yet, but I'm telling you guys, run, don't walk for the next 60 days. Okay, run. Okay, Zango Nation, you know, MB30 peeps, anybody within the sound of my voice, you know, here's the challenge. How many, how fast, okay? How many samples can you get out to people between now and, let's say, Bold in Salt Lake City? By the way, if I didn't say this yet, don't miss it, okay? Will you have product on hand? Will you have samples on hand? Okay, what number will you choose as your daily goal? And I'll tell you right now, guys, it doesn't need to be some pie in the sky, huge astronomical number that you can't hit. Just make sure it's a number above 0, okay? But do it daily, okay? Like I said, don't set it so high that it's not obtainable, okay? Other bottom line is, how quickly will you follow up? And who will you have on your team helping you follow up, okay? For each day you don't invite, don't sample, you're not in business, okay? Do not make Zango a hobby, okay? This is a real business, guys, okay? And this is a real business. This means that you deserve success, your family deserves success, the people still waiting to hear from you deserve to know about Zango and find success, okay? And the closing motto is this one, and I love it, because Nike's motto was not just try it. I'm telling you, if your motto is just try it, think how many failed athletes there be in the world. Say, hey, I tried it, didn't work out, ain't gonna do that again. All right? Like the motto goes, just do it. All right? Guys, we'll see you at the top. Go out, live your life by design, and we'll see you at Bold. Back to you, Gordon.
Thank you. Boy,
Wow.
John, you were on fire today.
That was good.
Yeah.
Bringing the heat.
Yeah. Are you in the Beehive State today, John?
I am in the home state of Utah, and I'm actually coming in Monday with a top-notch guy who's going to take a little tour of your facility there, man. So, yeah, I'm here.
Excellent. Well, thank you for spending some time with us today. I appreciate that. And I'm a fan of the quote. Ray Heron's on the line, and he used to always say, "Success leaves clues." So I love when we finish a call like that with some great advice. So thank you, John, and thank you for everybody who's participated in the call to this point. And I'm going to turn the time back to our host with the most, Mr. Dave Webb, and he's going to close off with some closing statements today. Dave?
Got some great news. Thanks, Gordon. We are turning right now to the estimable and powerful Jennifer Dean. You guys don't know, she's even laughing silently. She is such a quiet personality. But Jennifer is superstar in the marketing department, helps put together some of these product specials, and we know that's why a lot of people are on the line, loving to hear the great information about products from Dr. T, business from Johnny Z, and now to Jennifer D. How's that?
That was good.
Okay, Jennifer, take it away.
That's perfect. Thanks, Dave. We have two great summer specials going on right now. The first is called our Healthy Kids Pack. It's a 2-pack of Zango 365 Kids. And you can actually order this online or call in to place your order for this. It's $100 with 90 PV, so you'll be able to save $10 on this 2-pack. The second promotion we have, it's called our Be Clean Pack. So to keep your kids clean this summer, we're offering 2 Junie hand and body lotions, as well as 2 Junie vegan hand and body bars in this pack. It's $31, that's 23 PV, and save $10 on this as well.
So these start today, is that right? As of right now, are these alive?
They actually they started last week.
Well, they just
So
stole all the
they-
thunder. Okay, this group now, though, has the chance to make a big volume difference in
Exactly.
these purchases.
Yes.
Jennifer, share those item numbers so that we know what we're asking for.
The Healthy Kids Pack is 113142, and the Be Clean Pack is 113143.
So if you have children or you know children, write this number down, 113142. That entitles you to a 2-pack of the 365 Kids Chewable Vitamins, world beaters, as endorsed right here by Dr. Fred Templeman not 16 minutes ago. And if you like cleanliness, I think I just nailed everybody on the call, the Be Clean Pack, special savings there. That item number is 113143. So, next week, we are gearing up to hear about metabolic. So this will enable you to keep up with those healthy children. When you have the metabolic product from Zango's Faveo line, we're going to learn all about the science there and the impact and the power that it can have for you. I believe Joe is scheduled to be here to host that call, and if it's not, it will be someone at least as good as Joe, like someone like Gordon.
Yes.
And we're prepared for that next week, same time, 4 p.m. Mountain Time is the time of that call. And as always, these calls are archived and stored on the front page of Zango.com. You can look at the bottom and look for something called Product Trainings. And here we are. So, to Dr. Templeman, thank you for joining us today. Johnny Z on the line. Also heard from Eric Welch with the Land of Many Children. And he has his own voting district, I think, right there in Wisconsin. And Gordon Morton right here, just taking charge. So Gordon, thanks for being here. Kelly, Jennifer, Clifford, Adam, thanks for being with us, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Goodbye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Cool.